Hello and welcome to Joyful, the podcast that will help you live a more joyful life. I'm your host, Chloe Markham, and it's my mission to help you find more joy every single day. This podcast is a deep dive into ways to reduce your stress, your overwhelm, anxiety, and that voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, whilst also diving into the methods, philosophies, and protocols that help us live more connected, grounded, and ultimately happier lives. This is about living life on purpose. Without any further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Harriet is one of my oldest friends. I'm super awkward right now. She's one of my oldest friends. Harriet's a yoga teacher, an entrepreneur, business owner, and I'm really excited because I think over the past 4 years, you've really shown to me what resilience is. So we want to dive into that.
Thank you.
So welcome, Harriet.
Hello.
I want to start off by asking you a question, just to put all this in context. I went to a play because, I'm cultured in that, and it was called All the Brilliant Things, and I can't remember who wrote it, right? I can't remember who wrote it, and that's terrible. Please just Google it and you'll find it. But it was so brilliant about a little boy whose mother was suicidal and he didn't know how to help her. So he just wrote down a list of all the best things about being alive. And I found that so lovely and endearing. Every day since, I have written down my good to be alive moment or thing. Mostly it's garlic and friends and chocolate. But, that's something that I really think is wonderful. And so I'm going to ask you right now, what's your good to be alive moment or thing?
I think it's the same. I mean, chocolate's in there. But yeah, I think friends and family and feeling calm. When you just get those moments of calm, that's everything to me at the moment. And my dogs, really. Yeah, we'll go with that. Do you guys have dogs? Yeah. So you know what I'm saying.
So I suppose the calm thing brings me neatly along. Since COVID, you've had a bit of a shit show.
Yeah. I don't think I'm the only one as well. I think if people have had businesses too, COVID kind of messed that up in some way. So yeah, but then it was a continuous shit show from there. Mm-hmm. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
I'm swearing. Okay. So. What's the question? It's just...
Well, tell me about it. So, because
you want to know everything.
Yeah, because I think as one of your best mates, I have seen everything that's happened over the past 4 or 5 years, and it's been so shit. And but I have seen you navigate that so wonderfully. And I suppose the point of this is resilience, right? So you have stayed, in my mind, buoyant and resilient.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, because we all go through horrible things, how have you done that? So I suppose start at the beginning. How did it happen?
Yeah,
what's happened?
Well, I'll just jump to today because I was having a chat with my partner about it. And I realised that what I've been doing is I've been numbing myself to daily annoyances, knowing that there's bigger stuff to be annoyed with. So I haven't got the energy to waste on being stuck in traffic or being late or, I don't know, the mortgage people getting the payment wrong, things like that. Because at the moment with the business kind of, as it's been crumbling and now it's pretty much out my hands, there's always been big things that have been happening each day and I'm waiting for something to happen, and it usually does. So I've realised that over these last 2 years, I think I've been numbing myself instead of letting myself waste any negative or bad energy on daily struggles.
Do you think it's a perspective thing?
I don't know if it's a good thing, though. I don't know if that's a good thing.
But do you think it's perspective?
It could be.
Tell us what's been so...
Yeah, so anyway, that was today. But years ago, yes, so COVID closed our business and then we opened when we were allowed to,
So you had a hotel?
Yeah, had a hotel. So we did that. And then when it was shut for, I think, the second time of COVID, then there was the drain issue. So there was drains all underneath, massive, the big ones, not just the little ones, the big. were split and they'd all bust underneath, which we didn't know at the time, but we could see that there was cracks coming into the wall, big cracks, and we weren't sure what was going on. But then we call the insurance like you do, and it was they thought it was subsidence, and then they realised it was drains, so it wasn't as bad. But it was just like a full year of our everything. So I've been there since I was 5. So I was born into it, pretty much. But yeah, it was just like our whole livelihood, our whole life, really, just kind of crumbling and literally cracking and crumbling. But so we were closed for a lot longer than we should have been. And then, this is a lot of years, isn't it? Trying to squeeze it into a sentence or so, like a paragraph. But
there was big dramas, wasn't there?
There was big dramas. Yeah, because we were just like the little guy. Like we didn't have any, like we didn't have like a legal team or anything. It was just us, the little guys, really. Me, my mum, my sister. So we've been together through it all.
Against some
couldn't have done it without them. But there's
big corporations as well, though, right?
Yeah, big.
We're not mentioning names.
But big businesses, big corporations, where, I mean, you being the little guy in a family business, I mean, you're not gonna get anywhere.
It's scuppered, really.
Yeah. But
so then the latest update, that was sorted.
Yeah, it got sorted in the end, and then we were like, oh great, we're gonna open, but we were actually left with a building that was just ruined.
So you had to rebuild effectively.
Yeah, which cost a lot more than we were expecting. Because I don't know if if anyone else in construction and stuff, but all the materials were a lot more money after. So when we were doing the refurbishment, everything was just kind of double or triple anyway. So that was
and not necessarily what you expected.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that actually. But we'd already gone in to do it, so it was like, well, we can't not now because we don't have a hotel, so we're going to have to do it. But yeah, ended up not. The money didn't reach as far as we hoped. Yeah, long story short, really.
So more debt needed, right?
More debt needed. But we've been chasing our tails. We were chasing our tails, just trying to. Catch up money-wise. And I think, going to get more money, it was like, okay, well, it'll be finished then, we'll do that, but it just, do you know what? It was a good, because it didn't work out in the end, and it got us off the hamster wheel, and it got us out of it. In a way,
the money.
In a really bad way, but I mean, like getting rid of it now, like not having the business at all. Wait. I know I'm jumping, but I don't want to be like too negative on.
It's fine, but I think
whole thing.
I think the whole thing, like what I would love for you to do, is admit that this has been really shit.
Yes, it has.
Because I know that so often, I think a lot of people do this. Is like, yeah, it's been bad for me, but there are other people who are worse off. And I'm in a privileged situation because I have good friends or good family or, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think then we kind of belittle our own experience because other people are having worse times.
Oh my God, that is so true. Because even before this, I was thinking, who wants to hear? You know what I mean?
But we do. And I think
this
is the point.
Like people, if they're going to write an autobiography about themselves or a book or about their life, I bet they think, does anyone really want to read about that? And then it ends up being an amazing book, and it's like you have to share it. Everyone's saying you have to share it.
So here we are, and I think for me, what stands out as being you and I in our relationship.
Helped me,
But I just remember going out for lunch with you and you struggling a lot, and then tales of like bailiffs coming round and demanding money back and.
Dog eat dog. When it gets to that point, it is absolutely dog eat dog.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hadn't seen that side of business But when it's people who want their money, it gets pretty harsh and dark and crap. It's really bad. And you can tell them until you're blue in the face that no, the money is coming. The money is coming. The money is coming, but they don't. It's not. They don't. A family business. It used to mean something. I think I've said that to you before. It used to mean something, but now I think it's all just. I don't know. It's not that I want to put anyone out of, because I would probably want to go. I would go into business again, but I would definitely go smaller. So I wouldn't want to be like, don't go into business. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but this one just didn't work out. So it just didn't work out for us. And it was really. I think the hardest thing as well was being in a family. I don't know if anyone works with family or has worked with family or whatever, but it's emotional on another level. I can't really explain it, but I mean, we've all experienced it together, and some of us have been strong, and then the other one's like a mess, and then it changes, and it's emotionally draining as well as really sad. So it's been a crazy journey. Yeah.
So considering how hard it's been, how have you stayed so buoyant? How have you stayed resilient against all of these enemies, I suppose, that you're fighting?
I think family and friends is great. Friends especially, you're really good, and I'm so glad I've got a little friend group now. That's incredible. Even just having the WhatsApp group is just amazing. But I think, I've always done yoga and meditation anyway. I don't know, when I was 19, I think I started. And I did my first yoga class, and I was like, oh my God, what is this feeling? I need to keep on with that. I don't know what it was, but it just kind of, ding, I just loved it. So I've always done it. So I do think that has helped try and clear my mind, or when I've been really anxious all day because I'm waiting for something, or I'm thinking about what I said on that phone call and I shouldn't have said that, or I spoke the truth too much or something, and it's going to bite me in the ass. Things like that. If I'm just going over and over, or I'm really worried about my sister or my mum, or I don't know, when I've been really, really anxious, which I've been more anxious this time than any time in my life. So I've had to turn to yoga and meditation way, way more and you never feel worse after, do you? You always feel, even if you've got to do another 10-minute meditation, and then maybe another 10-minute, you always feel better, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just for having some rest.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean my anxiety's gone. It might come back, in an hour's time. But I've got it to turn to.
So you've used them, yoga and meditation, kind of like tools?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get my iPad out. It would be, I tell you what, it would be nice to do yoga and meditation, though, without having to. Needing to do it. I'd rather just add it into my lifestyle and just be like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Because you do yoga each morning, right? Or you do meditation and manifestation and things. Yeah. That would be nice to just add in.
Rather than using it as a tool because you're feeling bad.
Yeah.
Just using it to support your
just to add in. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah, because it does set you up for the day. So, I would like that.
Well, you're moving forward into a brighter future.
Exactly. It's business gone now. Sold. Business is sold.
As of what? 2 weeks ago?
Selling, even.
Okay.
I'm kind of in the middle of from it going to it's in the selling stage, but there's still shit going on.
So, what would you say to someone?
That's ridiculous. Yeah. Because we owe money, so there's a lot of...
It's complicated.
It's not an easy... it's not like, okay, we're selling now, we'll pay you then. It's like, I don't know. there's still things happening, and still things that are shocking me as well. So I'm not fully relaxed, but I can feel, I know that our future is going to be so much better. And actually, we'll probably look back at it and be like, what were we doing? What were we doing? And what were we thinking?
So what would you recommend to someone going through something like that, or like any kind of terrible challenge?
With business or
anything, what would you recommend someone do to kind of fortify themselves or maintain a sense of resilience and energy and vibrancy despite life being challenging?
Yeah, I do think that the simple things in life are pretty are good things to turn to, like the things that you maybe haven't had time for. If things are changing, even if you've gone from being like busy every day, and you maybe lost your job or whatever, I think just going back to those simple things, like things that you might enjoy, like cooking, or just taking the dogs out, or just going on a walk anyway, or that forest that you still haven't been to, or getting into a box set even, or like I've got into gaming now, like, so I think just doing simple things, and it's reminded me that actually it is just the little things that matter.
And that's ultimately what mindfulness is, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think, also going from having wealth to no wealth has been a real eye-opener in that sense. I don't want to sound like a brat, because I'm not. Not. Just hang on a sec. Yeah, I just mean that, because even though, so yeah, it was my family's business, and I kind of was born into it and born into wealth, actually. But I always saw that my parents weren't happy working that business. All I saw as a child was that it was really stressful, like having all the businesses. And I think as me growing up, I would look at my mama, who didn't have all the, she had a pension, whatever. She was just, she just lived like a really nice, lovely life. And I always looked at her and she's happy. Like, you don't have to do this, guys,
So you found that even from a young age?
Yeah, I think I was a little bit of a black sheep in that way. And I know it was probably like, oh, it's easy for you to say that, but it was just something as a child. I was just like, oh, I just don't think you should push. I just saw how much they pushed themselves and how much they worked and how much they weren't at home, that I thought, why? I don't know. I think it was Dad's dream more than Mum's anyway. And then when we ended up running it, and I was pushed into it. I didn't want to do it, and I wanted to leave many times. But I was pushed into it, and it was like, well, we need you. It was just more of and that's it. So I did think, well, I'm just going to go anyway. And then, but I kept on. And I think over the years as well, I got fearful of leaving, because I was like, I'm kind of used to this lifestyle now. So I got fearful, and it was like, also, if I did go, it would be like, oh, what are you going to do? And it was like, I always wanted to be a yoga teacher, or, go and do a little bit of traveling, and maybe a bit of buying and selling from the markets over there and bringing it back, selling it, having a little shop, maybe. Those were the sort of things that I wanted to do. But I got so fearful, and I thought that it was because I would feel guilty about leaving, but actually it was fear. So that was a massive thing that I realised. And then I feel bad as well to myself for not going when I wanted to go.
But you stayed, and
I stayed.
That's the way it is.
So long.
What about?
So I started when I was like 18, like running it, to now when I'm 37. Yeah.
It's a big chunk of time.
Yeah.
What, through all of this stuff, what has been the gift?
The gift. I've learned a hell of a lot, actually. No, it does make me think that, you know, maybe we are meant to be on a path, and maybe that was actually my path, because if I had done something else, I might not have been successful, and I might have, I don't know, started being on drugs or something. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done, but something bad might have happened. So maybe I was meant to be on this path. But now, and I think that now I've gotten rid of this blockage in a way, and we're all going to be free. Like, we don't have to speak to each other every day. We don't have to be in each other's pockets every day. You know, it'll be really nice for me, mum and sister, to just disperse, but in a nice way, and then come together and talk about other things. I cannot believe how long we've been in this business. I can't believe we've done it for this long, because it was not fun.
But I think the hardship is just testament to the tenacity of the human spirit. I mean, it's not a Holocaust or anything. I understand that.
Yeah.
You know, we can liken this to some severe crimes around the world against humanity, and it pales perhaps in comparison. But I feel like that's not the point, and we're talking about day-to-day human struggle and how debilitating that can be for individuals.
Yeah.
And actually how we, collectively, all of us, are much stronger than we give ourselves credit for.
Yeah.
And as well, I think that these challenges have innately loads of gifts within them, if we're just open enough to see them.
I think that it will come. I think that at the moment I'm feeling quite... it doesn't mean that I'm going to feel like this forever, but at the moment I do feel a little bit guilty to myself for staying so long. But I do know that it's coming, because it always does, and you always, go on in life and you look back and you go, yeah, I know why that happened now. So I know it's coming, and the lesson is coming. I do know that.
I love that.
And I'll wait for that.
And I think that's a really nice place to wrap this up, just as a message to anybody feeling in the eye of the storm.
Yeah.
You'll get out of it at some point. It's inevitable.
I think we're really adaptable as human beings, I think we'll move with the tide. I just really think that that's just a normal human thing, especially when there's family involved that you love.
I don't know. You will, Harriet. I really don't. It's insane.
Yeah.
Well,
I wanted to ask you something.
Well, I've got some questions.
Okay.
Should we get to these questions first? So I asked the wonderful community, and feel free, by the way, to ask me things if they come up, and Harriet, of course. I think this is a really interesting thing, and perhaps related to what we've been speaking about. What tips do you have for staying focused on your own journey and what is right for you when faced with negativity and uncertainty from others?
Yeah. Can you repeat that last bit?
When faced with negativity and uncertainty from
others.
Stay
focused.
Stay focused on. So I think what
it's a tough one.
This I think you know what I think. Do you know what I think?
Yeah, you tell me what you think.
Oh God.
And I'll agree. Probably.
No, I know what this is. I know exactly what this is like, because I shared something with a family member recently. Something quite personal and exciting to me, and about my goals and la la la. And they laughed at me, and they didn't mean to laugh at me. It just is so alien to them as an individual, the things that I do in my life. That doesn't mean that I don't love this person and they don't love me. I think, and it happens actually quite a lot in my family. There's different edges of my family that I struggle with sharing, but I do anyway, because it's the nature of my being. I'll share absolutely everything with you. Hey, stranger I just met on the bus, I can't help myself. And I need to learn. But my point is that if this thing that helps you feel better, that you feel is right for you, that is supporting you in growth, in joy and fulfillment, then you need to keep doing it. And I think it's about learning who to share that with, and finding people to support that process, right? So people that are involved. So for instance, if we take yoga, people can laugh about, oh, you practice yoga, it's just for old women. And come to one of my classes and you'll see it isn't. But I mean, maybe we have to compartmentalize, I think. And the most important thing is to stay focused, is to find the tools and the people and the things that help you stay excited about these tools. I don't know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And just
you've got to learn who you open up with, I think. Because I even like just hippy dippy stuff. Some people are like, you know,
exactly.
But then some people are like, oh my god, I love that. Do you read tarot cards or whatever? So I think it does depend who you're speaking with and what kind of circle they're in.
Absolutely.
Like, are they on this outside or are they maybe a little bit in, or you know?
Yeah, and I think building
and
that,
you're allowed. You can have as many on each.
Absolutely,
you know, it's cool. But yeah, I think in order to, because not everyone's going to be into.
Not everyone's going to get it.
Yeah,
is the thing.
Yeah, so
building the habits,
just a little protection. Yeah. I mean, I think it's fine. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. And building habits to make it sustainable, I think, is a key to that. Yeah. All right, let's move on to this next question, which is a big old doozy. What is your opinion, I suppose our opinion on and I'm going to jump in if you don't mind.
Cool.
What is your opinion on generational trauma and how to heal it? And this feels the heaviest thing ever. And I am not an expert on generational trauma or indeed trauma. And I would, first of all, recommend please seek therapy or some support with it, because as a person who's been in therapy for 2.5 years, it's the best thing ever. And also I recognise that it's not the best thing ever for some people. But anyway, find people to support you. But I think what's really interesting about this is the word trauma. I think everyone here has trauma. I have trauma, you have trauma, we all have trauma. Everybody on the planet has some level of trauma. And I think it's about standing up and saying, this ends here. This ends with me. I'm not going to pass this on to my children or to my friends or to my circle or to my community. And I think that is it. If you can get to that point of recognizing, oh, hey, here's this trauma. I see you. I'm going to deal with this and not send it out into the world. I think that's enough. Like, that's where we begin. And then we use the tools, whatever the trauma is, generational or not. And, you know, to some degree, I think most trauma could be generational if you think about it hard enough.
Yeah, isn't there that, isn't it scientifically, isn't there a science thing? Can't think of the word. Scientifically proven or whatever. If you do meditation, it can change your genes, so slightly,
wild.
Right? Yeah.
Epigenetics.
Right. There you go. Yeah, it's pretty cool that. So yeah, I think you can heal if you are using those sort of tools. You could heal your generational, the next generation.
But I think
if I was to have kids,
right, both happily child-free, I think.
Yes.
But I think it's about recognizing it, right, and then seeking out people to support you and processes to support you deal with it.
Yeah,
I think is the first thing is recognizing it.
Yeah.
But getting help,
I like that.
Please get help, because I don't know much about generational trauma or stuff, but people are wonderful. I think this is the thing, though, as human beings, we try to heal all of these things on our own. You know, we are so independent. I see this in so many people, myself included. And then as soon as you share with a friend or with a, professional, you're suddenly like, light bulb, this is brilliant. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I get to unload on somebody else and they can support me on that. I mean, there's a, especially with a friend, there's a limit to that. But I just mean, it's so wonderful how much support and healing can happen if we allow ourselves to be open and vulnerable to the right people. And I suppose it goes back to the previous question, the right people.
Yeah. how do you know if they're the right people? Like, if you first met them, how are you supposed to?
Time, I suppose.
Yeah. Maybe you just.
Like, when did we first open up to each other?
Like, really, really.
Yeah, really early.
When we were, hi. No, I'm joking. I don't get hi.
Oh my God, stop. Boyfriend's mum over there.
No, I don't know. But, I don't know.
I think you get a feeling, though, don't you, about people?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah,
I've got another question here. This person has no time for things. Busy person. What is the one simple, most effective thing they can do to bring more daily calm? I'm flat out going with meditation. Morning routines are the best thing ever. And if your routine is simply 10 minutes of meditation every day, yes.
Yeah.
And yoga nidra. I mean, we're adding things here, but I suppose yoga nidra, what we practice here today, is a form of meditation, I suppose, but it's not the same. Anyway, that's what I would say.
I would say meditation is probably the best thing to do, because just from my opinion, because it's the only thing. I don't think there's anything else that I've tried. Maybe, actually, no, if I'm doing art or something, so that's kind of like meditative, isn't it?
Flow state.
Yeah, so I think, or even a jigsaw, actually. It's quite meditative. So I think, doing things that are meditative, I think
Question done.
Yeah.
Nailing it.
And actually, I think when we opened up to each other, was when we went to that moon circle and we had the cacao.
You're getting deep here.
I think...
Like the weirdo cacao.
Yeah, but we just felt like we'd done something together. Like we'd done a ceremony thing, ritual, whatever you want to call it, together.
I think seek those things out, actually.
Yeah, and I think being with all the women in the woods was just lovely. And I think we just kind of, because everyone else was talking, it's gonna open you up, isn't it? It's gonna make you speak as well, knowing that there's no judgment and there's no...
And I think there's a note there to women coming together and sharing and being vulnerable with each other, because I think we have been taught by society to mistrust women, ourselves, other women, and I actually think we need to just try and break those barriers. That's the end of these questions, by the way. Did you have some more?
I do have one question for you.
For me?
Yeah. I want to know when was like the turning point, the tipping point, whatever, of when you knew you wanted to teach yoga and you wanted to like spread yourself.
Yeah, God, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
I know what you mean though.
Spread yourself all around the world. When did you want to do that?
Do you know, I remember the day quite clearly. I was walking through the gates of Cardiff University where I was studying marine geography. That was a degree well wasted. But yeah, I was on the phone to my mum walking through the gates, and I was like, "Hey mum, I think I'm going to teach yoga," and she's like, "Maybe just graduate first." And I was like, "Oh, shut up, mum." I just remember I went to some yoga classes with a girlfriend in Cardiff, and we were just giggling the whole way through because it was shit. And this is I know I say this a lot, and I've actually had yoga teachers come to me and say they don't like it when I degrade other yoga classes, and I'm like, that sucks for you. I mean, this is the thing. You can go to good dance classes and terrible dance classes and whatever. And just, I think, practicing yoga for so long and being so bloody-minded, stubborn, I don't know. I went to so many and I was like, no, this sucks. I don't like it. And so I practiced with my teacher Ian online, and I was like, this is fucking brilliant. I want to do this, but there's no classes around me. I can't, there were no classes that made me feel more alive. So I was like, maybe I should teach them myself. Yes, that's what I'll do. And I was still at uni, and then, long story short, I decided to go and get my qualification, my teaching qualification. But at the same time, which is really interesting, probably too much information, but I started another business, being an employee engagement consultant. And I was like, I need to make offices happier because my job was shit and I hated it. And, I used to say it's where plants and souls went to die. It's a funny joke. I've used it a lot. But that was my mission. So I remember being in Bali doing my teacher training, and I was like scribbling notes down about ideas, how I could go into offices and make them brighter and shinier. And then it turned out 6 months after starting teaching, when I got home, I had queues out the door and wait lists. So I was like, oh, and you know what's hardcore cold calling for this consultancy business is getting me nowhere and making me feel horrible. So I just was like, I'm going where the people are. And so I knocked that on the head and started as honey yoga back in, when was it, 2016? And the yoga revolution was born not long after, and here we are. And yoga is so funny, isn't it? Because yoga is no longer it for me. I love yoga. I have been physically, I don't want to blame yoga for my physical malfunctions, but, I have a hip impingement from my ridiculously, hardcore yoga practice, and for teaching 14 classes a week in my studio and all of these things. So I still love yoga. I love to practice yoga. It's just different for me now. And actually, I've just been reminded hugely over the past few months that yoga is one of many tools that we can use to support ourselves in being more resilient, more capable, more joyful, because we are on our way to death, right? And I just think philosophers can sit and argue the point about the meaning of life until they're blue in the face. It's like, maybe there's a God. I don't really think there is, but maybe there is. But we can't disprove it or prove it, really. So I suppose in that way, I'm quite agnostic. So I'm like, why does that matter? Why does that matter? Surely what matters more is connecting to other lovely human beings and doing things that we love that make us happy and make us fulfilled, and dealing with our trauma and, living a more connected, joyful, inspired life, so that when we get to that dark door ahead, the unknown, we can be like, yeah, that was a fucking good ride, that was brilliant. I embraced it and loved everybody and hugged everyone and had a nice time as much as I could. And I'm not saying that it's joyful for joyful sake, it's happy and toxic positivity, because I think that's really a result of the patriarchy. Yeah. But I mean,
it's so inspiring.
What can we do to live more joyfully?
Yeah. It's so inspiring what you do. And I think because I've done something that I haven't enjoyed for so long now, I'm really looking forward to remembering what I wanted to do, or remembering who I am, really.
Finding it again.
Core, and then letting things happen organically. But you always inspire me.
Thanks, babe. You too.
I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
You really do.
Thanks, mate. You too.
It was a lovely yoga class.
Oh, thanks.
As well today.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm just glad I didn't have to do all of it.
Yeah.
As in, I felt lazy. It was nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we conclude? Thank you for being on my podcast, Harriet.
Thanks
Love
for
you.
having me.
And I'll see you once I've turned the mics off.
Okay.
Thank you so much for listening, my friend. I hope you're feeling sparkly and inspired to live a more joyful life. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a rating. These things are invaluable to me, and share it with people who need it. This is about inspiring more people to be more connected and lead happier and more joyful lives. Join my inner circle for more inspiration. Learn more at the website theyogarevolution.co.uk and chloemarkham.co.uk. I'll see you in the next episode.